This week, Donald Trump announced a new campaign strategy for the Midwest. After all, he's got to make sure he shores up those Midwestern votes because those are the votes that gave him enough of an electoral advantage to win in 2016. And this new electoral strategy is to start handing out $16 billion to farmers in the region. And he's doing this in the form of a bailout to basically try to bribe all those farmers who have been hurt by his trade war with China into still supporting him. On Thursday, he held a little press conference that very quickly went off the rails, but the press conference was supposed to be about this $16 billion farm bailout in addition to the previous bailout of a couple $1 billion. He had people standing behind him. They had their cowboy hats on so that you knew they were ranchers. Because if you're not wearing a cowboy hat, people don't know. So you got to make it really crystal clear for the idiots. Nonetheless, he said, we're going to give them $16 billion. That $16 billion is not because Donald Trump understands that farmers are struggling. That $16 billion is because he wants to buy their votes. That's why he did the last bailout shortly before the midterms, because he thought for sure that was going to ease all their fears. And hey, I know you're getting destroyed by our trade wars, my trade wars. I know your farm has gone under and you just lost generations worth of your livelihood. But here's a little bit of a government handout. Please make sure you vote in November for me. It's not going to work. I'm sure it's going to work for some people. But I think everybody else sees it for what it is. This is legal bribery with our tax dollars, by the way, for the consequences of a trade war that Donald Trump didn't quite understand. He sees his poll numbers in the Midwest dropping. And I think he understands at this point that it is because of the trade war. He's absolutely devastating communities. Bankruptcies among farmers are higher than they've been in over a decade. And it is 100% because of his trade war. So he figures he can take $16 billion of our tax dollars, throw it to these people, and maybe that'll be enough to get some more votes for him in 2020. But it also signals two things. One is that this trade war is not going to end anytime soon. If it were, he wouldn't be bailing these people out. He would be telling them, sit tight for another week or two. I got you covered. This thing's coming to an end. But he's not. He's handing out $16 billion. The second thing it shows is that Donald Trump still doesn't understand what any of this means, what any of this does to people here in the United States. And here's what I mean. Here's a quote that he said during his little press conference. He said, farmers have been attacked by China. We're winning it big. We're winning it big. We're winning it so big, in fact, that we have to hand out an additional $16 billion because we're winning so much. We're not winning anything. The United States never wins in a trade war. Nobody actually wins in a trade war. And Trump still doesn't understand that. He doesn't understand the consequences of his actions because he is not a smart human being. There is no denying that point right now. He doesn't know. He has economic advisors that either haven't told him, or they don't understand, or they did tell him and he just doesn't understand it. Either way, people are suffering in this country, and they're suffering because of the decisions that Donald Trump alone has made. And he thinks he can throw $16 billion of our tax dollars at these people to make them forget it for another 18 months. It ain't gonna happen. These people are going to remember. Yes, there's going to be a few that get paid off and will vote again for Donald Trump. But from what we've seen from the polls, from interviews with these people, they know exactly why this is happening to them. They know exactly who is to blame for it. And they're not going to be forgiving when they head to the polls in 2020. Thanks for watching, everybody. And don't forget, if you like what you see here, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And now you can also become a member of Ring of Fire and get exclusive early access to certain Ring of Fire videos all throughout the week. Just click on the little join button right below the video.